The moment Rowan Kyler stepped between the trembling woman and the man shouting at her in the middle of the sunny cafe courtyard, everyone around went quiet. Even the patio umbrellas, swaying lightly in the warm afternoon breeze, seemed to pause. Rowan didn't know her name. He didn't know why her date looked ready to grab her arm. The only thing he did know was that his 8-year-old son Finn was watching from their little table, and he couldn't let any child see a woman being cornered. So he stepped in without hesitation. The man muttered something angry, but Rowan didn't engage. He gently guided the woman away, one steady hand at her back, the same way he used to ease his late wife through her panic attacks. As they moved through the courtyard, the cafe manager appeared. Customers whispered. And Finn stood up, torn between pride, fear, and confusion. Rowan didn't know that this single act, something he did out of instinct and decency, was about to change his entire life. Her name was Lane Ariston. When they stepped onto the sunlit sidewalk, the reflections from the storefront windows framed her like a delicate scene from an emotional film. She kept apologizing, embarrassed and shaken, but Rowan reassured her that she owed no one an apology for walking away from disrespect. Lane kept glancing back toward the cafe, afraid the man might follow, but he never did. Rowan introduced Finn, who greeted her with a small, gentle smile that eased her tension. Rowan assumed that would be the end of it. He escorted her to her rideshare pickup, made sure she got in safely, and waved as the car drove away. He didn't know that behind one of the cafe's tinted windows, someone else had watched everything. Adrielle Vaughn, composed, sharp-eyed, and known for her powerful presence, sat still, ignoring her assistant's reminders about a lunch meeting. She couldn't look away from the single dad in the faded blue work shirt, the tired strength in his posture, the calming way he moved, the young boy tugging on his sleeve. As she watched them leave, she felt something warm and unfamiliar crack through her usually solid armor. Rowan went back to his day, unaware of the impact he had made. He dropped Finn off at school and went to the auto shop where he worked. The place was small, with peeling paint and a dusty sign. But every paycheck mattered: rent, old medical bills from his wife's long illness, the things a child always outgrows. He worked 6 days a week, took overtime whenever it appeared, and rarely heard a thank you. Customers sometimes complained even when he did everything right. Fatigue pressed down on him daily, but he carried on. Every morning he packed Finn's lunch with a small handwritten note. Every night he read a chapter of Finn's chosen fantasy book. Rowan wasn't perfect, but he was steady, gentle, and unshakably committed. And someone had noticed. 3 days after the cafe incident, a sleek black SUV parked outside the shop. Rowan didn't look up immediately. He was bent over the engine of an old sedan, but when the footsteps stopped beside him, he straightened, wiping sweat from his forehead. Standing there, elegant in a cream blazer and tailored pants, was Adrielle Vaughn herself. Her copper-brown hair was pulled back, her posture straight, her expression softened in a way that even she didn't expect. She told him she had seen everything at the cafe. She said she respected men who acted from principle, not pride, and she wanted to thank him by offering an opportunity. Rowan stared, confused, waiting for the catch. Adrielle continued, explaining she owned several businesses, including a luxury vehicle restoration branch, and they needed someone honest, skilled, and dependable. She had looked up his certifications. His reviews. She thought he was the right fit. He felt dizzy. His thoughts flew to Finn, the overdue dentist bill, the broken washer, the sneakers that were suddenly too small. Adrielle noticed the hesitation in his eyes and reassured him this wasn't pity. It was belief. She handed him her card and told him to take his time. Rowan spent the rest of the day uncertain. Good things didn't usually land in his life without strings. But Adrielle's presence had felt genuine, solid. Finn, when told, immediately said his dad should take it, because people don't offer good things unless they see something in you. Finn had always been wise for his age. So the next morning, Rowan called. The new job didn't change everything overnight, but it changed everything that mattered. Rowan finally had predictable hours and enough income to breathe. He could pick Finn up after school. Help with homework. Sleep more than 5 hours. Laugh more often. Adrielle visited the restoration shop weekly, usually under the excuse of checking on projects. But she stayed longer whenever Rowan was around. She asked about Finn's hobbies, Rowan's childhood stories, the way he learned his trade. Rowan found himself looking forward to the days she showed up, even if he tried to ignore the quiet pull he felt toward her. She was a billionaire. A woman who lived in penthouses, not small apartments. He was a mechanic barely catching up on life. Their worlds weren't just different, they were from different galaxies. But Adrielle didn't see distance. She saw character. And Rowan had the kind of steady kindness that felt like home. She found herself thinking of him at night, remembering the warmth in his laugh, the gentleness in his hands, the patient way he spoke to Finn. When she finally admitted she was falling for him, it scared her. She had built a life on strategy, on control. And Rowan was neither of those. He was something deeper. The moment everything shifted was one soft afternoon at the park. After a work visit, Adrielle joined Rowan and Finn for a simple break. Sunlight filtered through the trees. Finn practiced soccer while Rowan encouraged him. Adrielle watched, and a gentle ache grew in her chest. When Finn tripped and scraped his knee, Rowan was at his side instantly, steady voice, calm hands, a father's instinctive love. Watching them, something inside Adrielle opened. It wasn't admiration. It was longing. She wanted to be part of that world where love was simple, real, warm. Rowan, meanwhile, stayed unaware. He appreciated Adrielle, respected her, enjoyed her presence, but he assumed she cared only about his work. That began to change when Lane, the woman from the cafe, reached out unexpectedly. She wanted to thank him again and invited him for a daytime coffee. During their conversation, Lane mentioned casually that she worked within Adrielle's corporate network and had overheard something surprising. Adrielle had turned down 2 high-profile dates, saying she already cared for someone. Rowan felt his stomach flip but brushed it off. Why would someone like her care for someone like him? He found the answer 2 weeks later. Adrielle invited Rowan and Finn to a charity event at a community center she funded. It was simple, warm, filled with families and food stands, nothing like the extravagant galas people imagined she attended. Finn played all afternoon while Rowan volunteered to help set up an outdoor display. Adrielle joined him under the shade of a white canopy, sunlight glowing behind her. She seemed nervous, adjusting her bracelet, her breath catching before she spoke. She told him she hadn't been entirely honest. She hadn't offered him the job only because he was talented, though he absolutely was. She had offered it because watching him defend Lane reminded her of something she had forgotten existed: real courage, real heart, real goodness. And after that day, she couldn't stop thinking about him.